but it is indeed a great, great honor to extend on behalf of Polymer Update, RACE Conferences, and PWorld Technology a very, very warm welcome to our guest of honor, His Excellency Freddy Svane, Ambassador of Denmark, a country with a long tradition of developing and using renewable energy. Through decades of extraordinary and sustainable efforts, Denmark has made a green energy system that delivers a cleaner everyday life to all citizens. And these efforts have helped Denmark rank first in the Environmental Performance Index 2022. This is indeed inspiring, and I'm confident that India will take a lead from countries like Denmark. And however challenging they may be, India will focus on helping reduce our country's carbon emissions in the years ahead. Your Excellency.
Good afternoon to all of you. Plastic bottle. I was 12 years ago, I was in Gujarat attending a conference, and who was sitting there on the same dais as I did. I was then Chief Minister Narendra Modi. And I was to give a speech, and then when I was starting my address, I found a bottle of water in plastic. So I said, listen, this is not good. Plastic is not what it should be, and there's too much of it. Many years, and then bought glass bottles and all that was brought in. But I think all of us became a little bit more smarter and clever. We can't live without plastic. I think we all have to realize it. But we can use plastic in a clever and a smarter way. And when I look into how much plastic I see across the world, not only in India, but also in my country, Denmark, and very nicely said, Mr. Mitter, about how Denmark is really moving fast ahead. I came to the conclusion that it's not for me to tell you not to use plastic, but it's for me to tell you to use it in a more sustainable, greener way. That's how it has to happen, how it has to be. And basically, in a larger picture, waste is wealth. And we are all generating a lot of waste across our daily life, whether it's in Denmark or whether it's in India or whether it's across the world. Human activities will lead to waste. But waste is not just waste. Waste is really something that can be used. And the best way of doing it is, of course, to recycle it. And there are these three famous R's. We have to reduce whatever we are using from Mother Earth, whether it's water, whether it's oil, and basically also plastic. We have to reduce that. And when it's possible to reduce that, then we are jumping into kind of human behavior. Come back to that. Secondly, we have to reuse whatever can be reused. And this one day, if I put on a necktie next time, it could be woven based on yarns made out of PET bottles. And in fact, some months ago, I was in a discussion in another conference about whether we could use PET bottles for uniforms or in different sectors of a society. You know who is, I don't know whether it's true or not, but one of those who are using most uniforms in India. You know which service that is? Perhaps it's the army, I don't know. But the railways. So I talked to somebody and said, okay, let's try to see if one day all the uniforms to be provided to the Indian railways, whether that could be made out of recycled plastic. So we are in a little bit of discussion of how to do that. So one day, this bottle will be sitting on the shoulder of perhaps the station manager of Delhi Central Station or wherever, I don't know. So reduce, reuse, then of course recycle, and that's what it's about. I was born in the era of plastic fantastic. And now, today, I have no taste for waste. It does not mean that I hate plastic, I don't like to see plastic, I'm a big spender of plastic. But When I heard the presentation of NEPRA, what you're doing and what is really generating activities out of that approach, I feel really honored to live in India. I've been here for 10 years. And even though a lot of people from the Western world will come and criticize India about X, Y, Z, I'm not on that team, so to say, because we are not here to teach nor preach India. I look into India in the following way. India is 1.4 billion people. The economic, let's say, diversity is huge. However, I have seen over all these years, I've seen a lot of entrepreneurship being developed from the lowest level, the lowest segment of the pyramid till the highest. And what I see is a lot of people who are developing fantastic models. And I don't know why Ahmedabad is a little bit in the picture here, but I was also in Ahmedabad a month ago and so forth. And then I met a guy who had developed an app. So when you are buying stuff for like a little bit Flipkart or Amazon, if you buy some stuff, you can pay in trash. So if I buy 2 of these bottles, then I can pay not in cash, but in trash. So I think this is really, really interesting. And I think that in the longer run, India is really setting a new standard. You are creating a new global order. Denmark and India, we have what we call a Green Strategic Partnership, which is about bringing the skills that we have. And it's not just about technology, but it's also about practices and so forth. And in that context, we are, of course, combining whatever we can on our side with what is needed in India. And India has a scale. So your Honorable Prime Minister has said India has scale, Denmark has skills. I have to add, India has a lot of skills. When I saw this presentation from NEPRA, I think you have come really much far ahead of what we are doing in my part of the world, because you are creating jobs, you are really collecting trash, you are creating cash out of trash, you're creating livelihood, and that's what it's about. We have been 400 years on the way in our part of the world to develop a society where we can afford really to collect, segregate waste and all that. You have a much lower time span. You have now you've been independent for 75 years, and in 25 years or a little bit before that, you will be the leader of the developed world. And I think it's easy for me standing up here being a representative for a well-off country to tell you what to do. But with what I'm telling you, can you take that one-to-one, copy-paste? No, that's not how it works. Can whatever you do here in India, can that be copy-pasted to Africa? Yes, it can. Because some of the same challenges that India has been facing and still is faced with can be taken into the African continent. So it's about developing low-tech, low-cost, and very simple systems. So resilience and action, very, very important. India has the G20 presidency, first time ever. And when I look into all the nice slogans and whatever, I sense a very, very strong will, determination to solve some of the big challenges that we are all part of. And of course, we have to reduce the carbon emissions. I mean, this planet, our Mother Earth, Ma, is on the brink of collapse. So we are all part of that. And therefore, personally, I think whatever is being discussed at global stages, in local stages, is very important. But your Honorable Prime Minister in October last year mentioned something which I think is very, very important, namely the mission life. It's easy for me, it's easy for all of you to ask your government or your mayor or whoever to really clean up your city, your town, to help you doing whatever and whatnot. And that's fine, it has to be part of that system. But basically, if I don't care how many of these bottles I'm emptying every day, I don't care about how I throw it here and there, then the Prime Minister, the chief minister, the XYZ throughout the whole hierarchy will not be able to solve any of the big challenges. So the individual responsibility is so important, really. And the same goes for plastic. And to come back to my first initial remarks about my experience in Gujarat, in Ahmedabad, no, it was in Gandhinagar, but anyhow, about a little bit blaming the host for putting up plastic, fantastic bottles for a conference that would be addressing environmental challenges and how to develop sustainability. Today I feel I'm a little bit proud standing with a bottle of plastic, because this is also wealth. It can generate a lot of jobs. But it's not the same that we should just consume endlessly, consume whatever we like, whether we can afford it or not afford it is not perhaps the most important aspect of it. But we have really to use things, the resources from Mother Earth, in a proper, smarter, but also sustainable way. And that's the only way we can solve some of these issues. So I will not take more of your time. I was really sorry when somebody called me and said, you were supposed to be here at 9. And I said, why? And then it turned out that somebody had asked me to be present. So I said, sorry about that. And then I dressed up and rushed here from some other functions and said, okay, plastic is really fantastic, but still, ladies and gentlemen, I have no taste for waste. So let me thank all of you, the organizers here, for really putting the finger really to the challenges, but also to the opportunities, the challenges that we find in this segment. So, ladies and gentlemen, plastic is really fantastic, but don't use too much. Instead, reduce, recycle, and then one day we will stand somewhere and say, okay, we are lacking plastic, because plastic is also my next suit, my next shoes, my next bag. And if we want really to solve all the other challenges that we are facing, food, fuel, and perhaps even fertilizers, we will need waste. So waste is fantastic if it's used properly and smartly by all of us, me included. So all the best and take care, and don't forget that plastic is part of our life, but you should use it properly in a green, sustainable way. Dhanyavad, thank you very much.